Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, John Paval here with this week's roundup of Organ Livestream action. And this week we have a goodly number of live streams going on for you. We have some of our usual live streams that from Eli Cathedral, from St. Eustache Church in Paris, from St. Paul's Cathedral in San Diego, and we have and Truro Cathedral up in Cornwall, and then we have also several live streams coming to you from the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow, in which you have the Organ Plus Oboe, Organ Plus guitars and mandolins, Organ Plus voice. So it's a lovely week with lovely live streams to tell you about. And I am happy to get to it. Before I do so, let me remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching this on any of our other 6 platforms, please follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. And we will continue to provide you with more than 1,000 live links to live performances online, including a slew of organ recitals and concerts every week of the year. So having said that, let me then get on to, you see the pictures there beside me of all the different organists, these 6 different organists, and some of them play, as I said, by themselves, some of them play with others. The first of them is playing together with an oboist, but I was unable to come up with a worthy photo of the oboist or very much information about her. So let's just stay focused on this organist, who is Lilia Pechenkina. Wednesday, August 20th, Artbene live streams young organist Lilia Pechenkina and oboist Aglaya Golubeva in a varied program of music by Bach, Marcello, Mendelssohn, Dupre, Piazzolla, Cesar Franck, and Donizetti. And that'll be at their usual time during the week of Artbene at 7 o'clock European time, 1 in the afternoon on the East Coast, 10 in the morning on the West Coast, and 8 o'clock in the evening in Moscow, where this is all happening. Lilia Pechenkina, she's young, but she's on her way. She studied, she didn't study only in Russia. She started out in Perm, at the Perm College of Music, graduating there about almost a decade ago. Then she studied historical clavier at the St. Petersburg Conservatory. And then she has been polishing all that up with studies for an artist diploma from the Leipzig Hochschule für Musik und Theater. So she's gotten around. Now this particular, and I'm sorry, I just can't tell you more about Aglaya Golubeva. I just couldn't find the information. And we invited them to come on this live stream and do an interview with us, but I don't think they got the message in time. Anyway, this program, there will be duets by Italian and French composers, and then solo pieces of Bach and Mendelssohn on the organ. So there'll be Bach's Toccata, Adagio, and Fugue in C major, BWV 564, played by Lilia herself. Then Marcello's Oboe Concerto in C minor 2, 3 parts, the Adagio and the Presto. And then there'll be Mendelssohn Sonata number 6 in D minor, Opus 65, the first movement, which I assume from the program notes, again, is solo organ. Then Marcel Dupre's symphonic poem Evocation, Opus 37, the third part of that. Then Piazzolla's Oblivion and his Ave Maria. If you don't know that Ave Maria, I can sing a little bit of it for you because I have sung it in recital. It's one that starts out, Ave Maria, amore tui sit sum, Ave. And you know, what's interesting about this for me is that I first discovered Piazzolla's Ave Maria played by an oboist at St. Mary's Church in Paris, where they have every Sunday evening or late afternoon, they have a concert free of charge. And after I heard it, I was just overwhelmed by it. And then I looked it up and I found out there were words. And so then I sang it in recitals. So you never know. If you're a singer and you hear something, a melody you like, you never know when you're going to find words to it. Like Mascagni's Intermezzo from the Cavaliere Rusticana, which is also an Ave Maria. Oh, okay. Then they'll do César Franck's Chorale number 2 in B minor. And so, wait, that Piazzolla, I'm sure that Ave Maria with the oboe is going to be just so sweet, so lovely. I would tune into this concert just for that. Anyway, and then they'll wind up with Donizetti's Oboe Sonata in F major. So that sounds like a lovely concert. Sorry I don't have more about the oboist, but I think you know all you need to do to tune in and enjoy this one. At what time is it? 7 o'clock European time, 1 o'clock on the East Coast in the US, and 10 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. Why not? It's free of charge. If you're at work, you're at lunch, whatever, come on. Join the global audience. So let's move on to the next live stream that we have for you this week, which will be Mark Dwyer coming to you from, and this will be an even longer length concert because this is Methuen Memorial Concert Hall, and they don't kid around. These are big deal concerts, and they invite top people. August 20th, Methuen Memorial Music Hall live streams the Church of the Advent's organist Mark Dwyer playing a full concert of summer romantics, including works by Elgar, Sowerby, Peters, and Louis Viern's Organ Symphony number 3 in its entirety. Yes, that will be like about 6 hours later than the live stream coming out of Moscow the same day. It'll be at 7:30 in the evening, Eastern Daylight Time, 4:30 in the afternoon on the West Coast, 1:30 in the morning here in Europe, and 9:30 Thursday morning down under in Australia. Worth tuning into to start your Thursday day. We're told that Dwyer is quote unquote one of the most gifted organists of his generation. But I have to tell you, they always put blurbs like this into descriptions. I think what's interesting is that he's been with the Church of the Advent in Boston since 2007. And before that, he was at St. Paul's Church, K Street in Washington, D.C. And before that, the Cathedral of All Saints in Albany. This is an experienced, accomplished organist. And he'll be playing Elgar's Imperial March, Opus 32, as arranged by George Clement Martin, Sowerby's Bright, Blithe, and Brisk for organ, Flor Peters' Aria, Opus 51. I don't know Flor Peters, perhaps you do. Then Sowerby's Prelude on the King's Majesty. He'll take a break, and then he'll come back and play Louis Viern's wonderful Symphony number 3, Opus 28. That's a top organist playing a top selection of pieces. If you're really an organist, organ lover, check it out. Free of charge on a magnificent organ. Then we move on to Thursday. I'm sorry I don't have the time to give you the stats on all the organs, but you can look them up. We give you the link to the organ specifications. That organ at Methuen has 6,088 pipes. So he's got a lot to play with and have fun with. Let's move on then to Thursday and the Truro Cathedral's usual weekly live stream. Thursday, August 21st, Truro Cathedral live streams Joshua Hales, the director of music and organist at St. Anne's Church in Kew. And he's also a harpsichordist with a variety of Baroque ensembles and prize-winning associate of the Royal College of Organists. That's at 2:10 in the afternoon in Europe, 8:10 in the morning on the East Coast, 5:10 on the West Coast for you Hollywood technician types who are up that early, I know. And 10:10 p.m. down under in Australia. Joshua Hales is a youngish guy. He's the top guy now at St. Anne's Church. Before that, he was assistant director of music at Sheffield Cathedral, where he and the acting director of music there for a while, where he got to be the organist for episodes of the BBC Songs of Praise and things like that. And before that, he had organ scholarships at Truro, which is how they know him, and Salisbury Cathedrals and Exeter College, Oxford. And there you have his picture. There's one of the young up-and-comings that we can commend to you. That'll be about a 45-minute live stream, not one of these longer concerts like you have at Methuen and other places like that. So let us then move on to the next, which will be on Friday. Where is she? Anna Suslova. I love these Russian names, and I hope I'm getting better at pronouncing them. August 22nd, Artbene live streams organist Anna Suslova, accompanied by guitars, mandolin, and soprano, performing music of Italy, Spain, and Argentina, including Giordani, Obradors, Albanese, Arditi, Rossini, De Curtis, and more. That'll be like a full concert. 8 o'clock Friday evening in Europe, 2 o'clock on the East Coast in the US, 11 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast, and 9 in the evening in Moscow, where this performance takes place at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. Suslova regularly participates in international festivals and takes master classes. She's the coordinator of the educational programs at the Roman Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. And with her will be Ekaterina Bezdolnaya, a coloratura soprano, and Roman Moguchev on the guitar, and Andrei Yumatov on the guitar and mandolin. So these Russians, they love the mandolin. The past few weeks, there have been, I think, 3 or 4 concerts coming out of Moscow and elsewhere in Russia where they brought in the mandolin. They just love it. And they love the Latin stuff too. Okay, so what will they be doing? I'll give you a few names, but I'm not all that familiar with most of these pieces. They're not necessarily typical organ pieces. They'll do Tommaso Giordani's Caro mio ben, and he's almost Baroque, born in 1733, so sort of came of age at the end of the Baroque period. Then Juan Ramon Jimenez's Elena's aria from the Zarzuela, The Barber of Seville, Obrador's El Vito, Albane's, well, the Asturias, which everybody does, Arditi's Waltz, a Neapolitan Tarantella by Rossini, Bach's Concerto in C major, the first movement, BWV 594 for all of you organ purists who just want to hear organs. Then they will do Ernesto de Cortes's Torna a Sorrento, and they will wind up with a bunch of Piazzolla. Well, what else, right? The usual Oblivion, Libertango, and Ave Maria. That's your Friday evening or Friday afternoon in the US. This will be followed up by one of our weekly regulars, and they never tell us what he's going to play, but what he plays is always interesting. Friday, August 22nd, St. Paul's Episcopal Cathedral in San Diego, live streams as usual. Canon Martin Green, the ever engaging and articulate chief organist and music director there. The great thing about Martin Green is he gives you always an interesting selection of American composers and European composers, early music and 19th century or 20th century composers from both sides of the lake, and he gives great explanations for what he thinks is interesting about each piece without leaving us in the musicological dust, so to speak. So I love that guy, and I can always commend him to you, but they never tell us what he's going to play. That's at 10 o'clock in the evening in Europe, meaning 1 o'clock on the West Coast, 4 o'clock on the East Coast in the US, and 6 in the morning if you're up very early morning, Saturday morning down under in Australia. That organ is the oldest organ in the San Diego, Southern California region. It was rebuilt in 1969 by Aeolian Skinner, Opus 1495, but completely rebuilt again in 2012 by Quimby Pipe Organs, Opus 68. It has 4 manuals, 98 stops, 86 ranks, 115 draw knobs, and 4,933 pipes. That's respectable. Not overwhelming. Anyway, it's free of charge. So if you're in Europe and you're at home on a Friday evening, it's a lovely thing to tune into later in the evening. We then move on to Saturday, and what promises to be a really rollicking organ concert, because it's gonna have both accordions and voice. So I wanna put up for you at the same time several pictures so you can see all of them together. The accordionist and the soprano. I didn't have time to put them all together in one pic for you, but I can put them all on screen at the same time. There you go. There, but let's put the organist in the center. Okay. If you haven't heard Baroque Masters played on the accordion and organ, well, Saturday, August 23rd is your chance. Artbene live streams Bach, Vivaldi, Handel, Marcello, and Lucchesi for an accordion ensemble, organ, and voice at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. You don't hear that every day. That's at 7 in the evening in Europe, 1 o'clock in your Saturday afternoon on the East Coast, 10 o'clock in the morning your Saturday morning on the West Coast, 8 o'clock in the evening in Moscow, where this is happening. I'm going to double check that time while I'm talking about it for you, because usually the Saturday concerts are a little later. But no, it's on Saturday, and it is at that earlier time. Okay, so let's talk about this concert. This is Ekaterina Spirkina on the organ. She's a Moscow Conservatory professor who often plays at the Roman Catholic Cathedral, so she knows this organ, which, by the way, was gifted to the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow by a Protestant Reformed church, a cathedral about 25 years ago, back in 2002, as a sheer gift. And we will give you the link. Hopefully I'll remember to give you the link. It's a Kuhn organ built in Switzerland, so you can have all the details on it if you want. Now, the accordion ensemble that you see a picture of there, that ensemble is what's called the Russian Timber Ensemble. It's 5 guys, and they play a particular kind of accordion. Which was an instrument created by a Russian engineer named Nikolai Kosorukov. And they're called timbre accordions, Timbre. And that's why they're called the Russian Timber Accordion Ensemble. They've been together for 40 years, since 1982. And the thing is that these timbre accordions, they get very specific sounds. They can be built to sound like specific wind instruments in the orchestra. So there will be a French horn accordion, an oboe accordion, a Jupiter accordion, a clarinet accordion, and a tuba accordion in this mix. I'm not giving you the names of all the guys in it because I don't think you would recognize them. And it's hard to pronounce all these Russian names. But anyway, so they've been around, and you'll get a variety of sounds. It won't just sound like, oh, the same accordion. No, they will have different voices. They've played all over Europe, and already over a decade ago, they had been granted the Gnesen Academy of Music's Silver CD, which is the highest award that Gnesen Academy gives out for musicians. And the singer there is Lyudmila Botalova. And she's a soloist since 2017 at least, with the Moscow Regional Philharmonic, which from time to time also plays at the Roman Catholic Cathedral. What are they going to be doing? Well, they'll do Bach's alto aria from the St. Matthew's Passion. They'll do Vivaldi's Concerto for 2 violins and orchestra in 3 parts in A minor, Handel's Concerto for organ and orchestra in F major, in 4 parts. Rinaldo's aria Cara Sposa from the opera Rinaldo. Almira's aria Lascia Ciò Piangia from the opera Rinaldo. This is all Handel, by the way. Then Alessandro Martello's Concerto for Oboe and Orchestra in D minor in 3 parts. And Bach's Prelude and Fugue in C major, which I'm sure will just be organ for you organ purists. And they'll close with Andrea Lucchese's 2 sonatas for organ in F major. Sounds like a lovely, complex concert of the kind that I'm only familiar with the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow putting on. If anybody knows of other concerts of this ilk, by all means, let us know about them, because I would love to. We want to promote and publicize as many live streams as possible. So, just in general, please feel free to pitch us other people for us to pitch, because that's what we're here for. I mean, we're all derivative. We're not producing any content except, well, these things here. I'm not sure if you can even call what I'm doing content, but I'm here, folks. What can I say? We have 2 more to tell you about coming up on Sunday. The first of these is our old standby. Sunday, August 24th, St. Eustache Church in the heart of Paris live streams resident organist and showman Baptiste Florian Marle-Ouvrard playing Buxtehude's Magnificat Primi Toni and Olivier Latry's Salve Regina on their magnificent Van den Heuvel organ. That's at the usual time of 5 in the afternoon in Paris, 11 in the morning on the East Coast, 8 in the early Sunday morning on the West Coast, and 1 a.m., late night, down under in Australia, Sunday night. That Van den Heuvel organ has 101 stops, 5 manuals in both there's a lower console where the organist plays these concerts. There's another higher concert, which is up in the loft with the organ pipes, and 7,952 pipes. In other words, it's basically the same size as the organ at Notre Dame Cathedral that everybody gets excited about. But the difference is that the acoustics of the St. Eustache Church are, everybody knows, they're vastly superior to the acoustics of Notre Dame Cathedral, because Notre Dame Cathedral is too long and deep. So you have to push out the organ sound to much more brassy and loud than you might want to. Whereas the St. Eustache Church is not as long, but it has a higher ceiling. And the immersion of sound. What you can do both in terms of balance, like if you want to get loud, you can get loud, but if you want to get sweet and lyrical, oh my God. And they get hundreds of people every Sunday, several hundred people every Sunday, standing room only. There are very few organ live streams that can boast of that. With just a regular weekly, there'll be at least 300 people there on Sunday for Baptiste Florian Marle-Ouvrard. He's just the resident organist. They don't have to bring in big shots from somewhere else to get people packing it in. And I wouldn't miss it if I were you. So anyway, that's what you have on Sunday. And that we have one more live stream for me to tell you about. And that is in Cambridgeshire, here at Cambridge University at the Ely Cathedral. And there is the guy who will be playing the organ. It's Jeremy Lloyd. Sunday, August 24th, Ely Cathedral live streams its Assistant Director of Music, Jeremy Lloyd, playing a program of Vidor Boulanger, Matthew Martin, Francis Jackson, and Henri Dallier. And I'm sorry if I mispronounced Matthew Martin. Maybe it's Matthew Martin. I'm not familiar with Martin. Anyway, that's at 6:15 in the evening in Europe, 12:15 on the East Coast, 9:15 on the West Coast. He'll play Vidor's Allegro Vivace from the Organ Symphony No. 5. By Nadia Boulanger, he's playing Trois Improvisations, 3 improvisations. By Martin, he's playing the St. Albans Triptych. You know what a triptych is, don't you? It's when you have these like a 3-panel thing that tells a story. So you'll find it in some older churches. They would have, one panel tells the beginning of the story, then the middle panel, then the 3rd panel, or it can be up to 5 panels. Anyway, usually they were on wood in the old days, but they can be on any material. So that's a triptych. It's a 3-part that tells the story. Then they'll do Francis Jackson's Impromptu, Opus 5. And that's more or less contemporary. Francis Jackson just passed away a few years ago in 2022. And then from Henri Dallier's 5 Invocations, 5 Invocations, Stella Matutina, O Clemens, O Pia, and Electa ut Sol. Folks, that's what we have for you this week as the lineup. I hope that one, more, some, or any of these live streams inspires you, uplifts you, or just shows you a heck of a good time. I don't know how it can not be a good time to tune into that accordion, the accordion, organ, and voice concert at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow on set. I can't even remember whether it's Friday or Saturday, but you can look back and find it. I mean, come on. And not only that, but accordions that have individual voices, you know, and they're playing things like Bach. Anyway, so before I leave, let me remind you, if you're watching this live stream or this video clip on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching on any of our other platforms, please follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and or LinkedIn, and we will continue to make sure you get the live links to more than 1,000 live performances online in the coming year. So with that, I'll say ciao for now. I will be back in about an hour and a half at 7 o'clock European time, 1 o'clock on the East Coast, and 10 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast with the roundup of orchestral and chamber works. So it's just ciao for now. See you in a little bit if you're up for it.